How do you crush your Disney College Program interview? Oh, yeah, here, I'll tell you. Oh, hold on one sec. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about tips on how to crush your Disney College Program phone interview. I'm going to be sharing some of my tips and what I personally did to help you crush your phone interview. Alright, so let's get into it. I'm going to start out with some general tips on the phone interview that you can do, and then I'll get into what kind of questions the interviewer is going to ask you, like general questions, and some scenario questions for certain roles that you guys might be applying for. So my general tips would be prepared, have something that you can write on, like a pen and a paper, and have your phone ready to go. Set yourself up in a quiet area to take your phone interview. I took my phone interview actually in my room right here at my desk behind me. Funny fact, my phone in the summer when I took my phone interview was actually like glitching. Like sometimes if I was like listening to my like music on my phone and then like somebody were to call me and I like answer the phone call, my music would still be like playing in the background of like the phone call. Like the other caller who was calling me wouldn't hear it, but I would hear it. And so I'd have to like hang up and then like call them back. And so I was really afraid that that same thing was gonna like happen on my phone interview, and it like says like be like ready 15 minutes before your phone interview time. So I literally just like sat at my desk with like my phone on the desk, just like sitting like that for like 15 minutes in quiet, because like usually I always have like music playing like wherever like I go, like even if I'm walking around my house I'll have like my music playing on my phone. So it just felt really weird sitting in silence waiting for the phone call. On your phone interview, talk with enthusiasm that you show a lot of passion about Disney. I definitely do. That's why I'm doing the Kyle's program. My next tip is smile when you're on your phone interview. That one I thought was kind of cliche when I first read it, when I was researching the Disney College program, but actually I did. The whole time I was on my phone interview, all I did was smile. Like at the end of it, like my mouth was like so dry. Another general tip would be if you are one of those people that like dress for success, like dressing up for like your phone interview helps give you confidence, definitely go for it. I took my phone interview in more comfortable clothes just because I feel more confident like that I'm not like restricted. I wore something similar to this. I had like my mini ears on and I had like a t-shirt on like this and like sweatpants, and I was in the Disney mood. Another little thing is like make little reminders for yourself. Like if you're one of those people that kind of gets nervous when you talk, you say like or like or so. I'm definitely one of those people. You can definitely tell in some of my vlogs I say that a lot, like so, like, all right. Take a pause instead of saying and then like go into like answering the question. Just like pause, think about it for a second, and then respond. A general tip when they ask you a question that's just like a yes or no kind of question, don't answer like yeah, say yes, definitely, absolutely. Disney wants to definitely see candidates that are decisive and they have a strong opinion. Another general tip, this is something to prep for yourself. This is a big one to prep yourself for the phone interview, is watch other phone interviews out there on YouTube or research possible questions that you get on your phone interview. There's definitely like a ton out there. I actually was kind of shocked about how many people posted their interview on YouTube, but it definitely does help you a lot because you can gather information on what kind of questions they asked for certain like roles. Don't like just kind of brush away like the ones that say like not accepted. Use those ones as like helping tools as well. I watched all of them, like the accepted and not accepted ones, just because I felt like that really helped me. For like the accepted videos, you can see well how like well they answer their questions and like why they got accepted, and then for the not accepted videos you can see well how can my answer, if I get that question, differ from how they responded to it. So those definitely help too. And definitely Google like possible phone interview questions, and then what I would do is like put all of that in like a Word document and like type out like the question and then type out your possible answer. That definitely helps you prepare. I did that and I had like all my sheets taped up right here. I had sheets like laid out on my desk right here. And I actually never really looked at my sheets much for the questions. Those were just kind of prepping tools for my interview that helped me like answer the question quicker and like have like a good strong answer. Have like your work experience, like your job skills and job descriptions and like how long you work there for, like type that out on a sheet too. That definitely helps when they like get around to like your job experience and it's just like a tool to refer back to. Okay, so jumping into the actual phone interview. When they do call you, definitely write down your phone interviewer's name right away, just so at the end you can thank them like, hey, thank you, blah, 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 for taking the time to interview me. It's a good gesture, and it shows Disney that you're paying attention to detail. And then other questions they'll ask you is, do you have any piercings or tattoos? I didn't get, like, I know some people get like asked questions like how big it is or like what it looks like and where it is on your body. I don't have any tattoos, so I personally, it was just, do you have any tattoos? And it was no, because I don't. And the only piercings I have is like the traditional ear piercing. And that was about it for that question. And then they jump into asking you about your work experience and that kind of stuff. Okay, so now jumping into the general questions. These are some general phone interview questions that like I found from watching phone interviews. I didn't necessarily get asked all these. And there were actually some questions on my phone interview that I got asked that I didn't actually type out. But yeah, so these are some of like the questions that I found. If you want to like write them down and then do what I did and like type out like your possible answer, it will definitely help. So one of the general questions is, what are you looking forward to most about your Disney College program? What does Disney mean to you? What can you offer the company? Would you rather work independently or in a group setting? How would you handle an emergency? Tell me about a time when you were a team player. And then another one that's like related to like your work experience is, tell me about a time when you had to deal with a difficult guest or coworker or manager at work. And then another question would be, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Why do you think you're best for your top roles that you picked? Another good one to prepare yourself for is, have you had roommates? If so, did you ever have conflict and how did you resolve it? That was a big one, definitely, because you're going to be living down in Disney with roommates, and that is a potential like issue that could arise, that you could have conflict with your roommates. And how can you show Disney that you can professionally resolve the issue with your roommates? And then moving on to scenario questions. These are going to be more questions that are geared towards what kind of role like that you checked that you wanted. And they are going to ask you, I got asked like all the roles that I checked, not just like my top 3 roles that I was most interested in. I did get asked a lot of PhotoPass questions. They basically just ask you like what kind of experience you have. If you had a guest come up to you that doesn't speak English, how would you handle them? I can't really remember a lot of the PhotoPass questions that I got asked. Some of the scenario questions that I got asked for one of the roles attractions. If you were a ride greeter and you had a child come up to you that wasn't tall enough to ride the ride, how would you handle it? Definitely with the scenario questions, I'm just going to give this tip in between the questions. For the scenario questions, definitely try to use like names of things that are in the parks to show Disney that you do know Disney, that you know Disney World, and that you would be a great like person to work in Disney World. For that question, I definitely used like names of the rides, and I gave them like my reasons and stuff. Just for some of the questions, I'm not really going to give you like how I answered them, just because like I took a lot of time to research and that kind of stuff, and I felt that I came up with great answers. So that is going to be on your behalf to come up with how would you personally answer those kind of questions. For merchandise, a possible question, if you had a guest that was looking for a certain item that was not in stock, what would you do? I've had to deal with this issue personally at like my own jobs, like that obviously that aren't Disney. One of the roles that I checked was character attendant. This is a good question. If a character left to take a break and you had a family in line, asked where the character was going, what would you say? And of course you would want to say something that like includes like, oh, they're not just going to take a break. Like you could name like a certain character and then like base off where they're going based off like the movie that they're in or something like that, just to keep the magic alive, because that's what Disney is all about, is keeping the magic alive. And Disney basically, this is a scenario question. They want to see like how would you personally respond to that family to keep the magic alive for them. Those are just some of the scenario questions. I don't remember a lot of them that I got asked. Those were just like a few of the ones that I asked, because she asked me like maybe like 1 or 2 questions for each role, because I checked a lot of the roles, and they do have, you're not the only phone interview that they're doing at the time. They have many in one day. That's why there's only a certain amount of time for each one. So those are my general questions. At the end of the phone interview, I would personally like thank your interviewer. That helps by writing down their name, and then I would ask them questions because they do give you a chance. They're like, oh, well, do you have any questions for me? Don't just say, nope, thanks for interviewing me, bye, and then hang up. I would ask them questions. I would ask them a question about like seminars that would be coming up in the program. How would you make the most out of your college program? And ask them how they got started with Disney. Because it's always amazing. Like, personally for me, I love hearing stories about how people got started with their job and like what led them to start down that career path. So that was a great question for me just because I like hearing other people's stories like that. So those are all my tips on how to crush your phone interview. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any other questions, definitely comment down below, as I am starting my program pretty soon in like the next couple days. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to follow along on my journey. But I hope these tips were super helpful. And I wish you the best of luck on your phone interview and applying for the Disney College program. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. See you in the next vid.